Good day, dear friends, and welcome to the next chapter of Aquarius Rising, Christianity and Judaism explained using the science of the stars. Aquarius Rising is a book over 4,000 years in the making. The rights of others are both recognized and supported. Others are free to follow their own cultural and religious path. This work does not advocate forcing anyone to do or follow anything. It is not an attack on any individual or institution. Religion is in the public domain, though. It must necessarily expect an examination of its customs, rituals, holy days, and doctrines. If you are new here, these individual chapters explain stories and festivals of the New and Old Testament from the Astro Theology perspective. If you're unfamiliar with this, I suggest you either read Aquarius Rising, Introduction through Chapter 7, or watch the associated videos to develop a foundational understanding before proceeding with the stories and festival chapters. I hope this work will aid you in your spiritual journey.
Aquarius Rising, Chapter 25. The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. We have looked at the astrological foundations surrounding the birth of the solar gods. Let us turn our focus now to the astrological interpretation of the Book of Revelation. The author of Revelation also calls the last days judgment days. The author also directs our attention to those signs in the heavens, which are the zodiac signs, that signal the end times. According to the biblical account, the four horsemen of the apocalypse are to usher in the last days. They are the harbingers of Judgment Day. For many people, the Book of Revelation is the most enigmatic in the Bible. This is because most are seeking to interpret the story told in a human way. Examining it from the perspective of Astro Theology renders understanding. The book's editors direct our attention to the signs in the heavens, four horsemen of the apocalypse. In Revelation 6, the four horsemen appear with the opening of the first four of the seven seals that bring forth the cataclysm of the apocalypse. Revelation 6, 1-8 describes the first four seals, horses, and riders. Quote, I watched as the Lamb opened the first of the seven seals. Then I heard one of the four living creatures say in a voice like thunder, Come. I looked, and there before me was a white horse. Its rider held a bow, and he was given a crown, and he rode out as a conqueror bent on conquest. When the Lamb opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature say, Come. Then another horse came out, a fiery red one. Its rider was given power to take peace from the earth and to make people kill each other. To him was given a large sword. When the Lamb opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, Come. I looked, and there before me was a black horse. Its rider was holding a pair of scales in his hand. Then I heard what sounded like a voice among the four living creatures, saying, 2 pounds of wheat for a day's wages, and 6 pounds of barley for a day's wages, and do not damage the oil and the wine. When the Lamb opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature say, Come. I looked, and there before me was a pale horse. Its rider was named Death, and Hades was following close behind him. They were given power over a fourth of the earth to kill by sword, famine, and plague, and by the wild beasts of the earth. End of quote. Note that the riders of the horses have a separate identity from their horse. This is one of the primary reasons people have failed to correctly interpret the symbolism over the years. The information of the riders proves information for their identifications. The first rider sits on a white horse and has a bow and crown. This indicates the sector of Sagittarius. Its name is Latin for archer. Sagittarius is commonly represented as a centaur pulling back a bow. The stars, Cause Borealis and Cause Australis, refer to the northern and southern portions of the bow, respectively. The constellation Corona Australis, meaning southern crown, is a small constellation bordering Sagittarius just to the north. The second horse is red and carries a disruptor of peace which makes people kill one another. This represents the zodiacal sign of Scorpio, who carries the sting of death. The scorpion whose venom ushers in the misery of the winter season as the sun falls below the equinoxes into the sector of Scorpio. The third rider sat on a black horse carrying balances in his hand. This can only mean one thing: the scale indicates it is in the zodiac sign of Libra. The fourth rider sat on a pale, green, horse, and its rider was named Death, with Hades following close behind him. The ruler of hell, the bottom of the pit, is, of course, Capricorn, represented as Satan, the well-known goat devil of the zodiac, which we have already discussed. Further complicating the issue is that the editing of these biblical passages occurred at least 2,000 years ago, when the cardinal points of that era were Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. The vernal equinox is the prime indicator of any given astrological era, and the other cardinal points are identified in turn by the 4th, 7th, and 10th stations, counting eastward from the sign that occupies the vernal equinox. The biblical editors were done during the years when the vernal equinox was situated at the cusp of Pisces and Aries, that is to say at about the 1st degree of Aries and the 30th degree of Pisces, so the designation for the era of the symbolism can be applied to Aries, even though precession ally we were moving into the era of Pisces. Stated another way, the primary objective of the writer of Revelation in the tale of the apocalyptic four horsemen was to remind us of those zodiacal constellations that signal the last days. And what are these last days? The last days of the annual cycle are the time of transition from the summer season of growth and abundance to the winter season of death and need. Because of where the ancients were in the precession of the equinox cycle, they identified the cardinal constellation signs of the apocalypse with ominous imagery as Sagittarius, Scorpio, Libra, and Capricorn. Sagittarius rides upon the white horse signifying the spring equinox. Capricorn rides upon the pale horse signifying the summer solstice. Scorpio rides on the red horse signifying the autumnal equinox. Libra rides upon the black horse signifying the winter solstice. Mythological judgments occur at either the vernal equinox or autumnal equinox, depending on the focus of the symbolism. Also, in mythology, the lower six southern hemispheres, which are Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, represent the time of hardship and want. The lower constellations are also symbolized as the sea or the wilderness. The six upper northern hemisphere signs, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, and Virgo, signal growth and abundance. These upper constellations are usually symbolized as the land or the earth. It is at the equinoxes that the mythological judgments take place, as the equinoxes are transition points. When the sun is at either equinox, it is positioned mythologically upon the sea and earth. Quote, "And the angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth lifted up his hand to heaven." Revelation 10. End of quote. Judgment begins at the autumnal equinox and ends at the vernal equinox. Thus, Judgment Day is not 24 hours. Instead, Judgment Day is a period of transition from the pleasant weather of summer, where the sun is above the equinoxes, to winter's inclement weather, where the sun is below the equinoxes. The end of judgment is the moment of deliverance when the sun completes its route through the valley of death or the underworld, which are the southern six zodiacal signs. The main esoteric point is to teach or remind the people that those zodiacal constellations signal the last days. And what are the last days? Understand that the four horses are the cardinal points and should not be viewed with dread but rather as informative. The zodiacal signs that the four horsemen represent are the indicators of the terror of the last days. The last days are the last days of the year's annual cycle, where the transition from the spring and summer growing season and time of plenty moves into the winter season and the time of stillness and death. Remember, the ancient communities did not have books, scrolls, or the internet. Their transmission of knowledge was an oral tradition of storytelling via fables, folk tales, and symbolic stories. The central dynamic within mythology is for education. Mythology was the primary means used by the ancients to preserve their knowledge and history, as well as to motivate an uneducated population for the difficult winter months ahead.
The information in this video was taken from Aquarius Rising, Christianity and Judaism Explained Using the Science of the Stars by Rico Rojo. Aquarius Rising pulls data from over 4,000 years and numerous books and manuscripts and presents it in an easily digestible form for the modern reader. Aquarius Rising is available on your local Amazon in both print and Kindle. If you found this information useful, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel.